Hello, 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 everyone. Thank you all so much for joining the final night of the Six Figure Summit. I am so excited to have you all here with us. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the final night. This is day three. We have been together now for three amazing evenings. We have spent 4 hours learning how to start our businesses, how to grow our businesses. And tonight, we are going to be talking about how to scale our businesses. We are getting to the next level. Tonight is going to be perfect for those individuals who have already reached their first six figures, doing it by themselves for the most part. And they're trying to figure out how to scale that so that they can make their next six figures and the next in the next, and then get to seven figures in the next, okay? Because we declare and we believe that that is what is going to happen for every person who is tuned in tonight. So I hope that you all are ready, that you're excited about tonight, whether you are just starting a business, launching your next idea, or ready to scale up. We have assembled a group of dynamic leaders and experts who are going to help you to secure your success, okay? So as you join, please say hello and let me know where you are tuning in from. I want you to get engaged by telling us what it is that you are looking forward to the most from tonight. Again, this is our last night together, so I want to know what you're looking forward to and what you are expecting, especially because you came to the night for the big dogs. If I can really say that, okay? All the other nights, they were wonderful, they were great, but scaling is a completely different beast. It requires something different of you. So I want to know what it is that you are looking forward to and what you are expecting. So get engaged in that comment box and let me know what you are looking forward to the most tonight. The next thing that I need you to do is I need you all to share this broadcast. That's right. You can absolutely share it. It is so very easy. You see the directions scrolling across the bottom of your screen, but I'll still say them for you. You can share this link to Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and many other social media platforms by clicking the share button that is located below this video. When you share to social media, the only thing that we ask that you do is to please use the hashtag the Six Figure Summit and tag at the Six Figure Society. So if you're going to shout us out, just make sure we can see it. That's all I'm asking you to do tonight, okay? So again, welcome to the Six Figure Summit that is presented by the Six Figure Society in partnership with Brittany Smith Creative Company. My name is Tiffany Gillespie, and I will be your host for this virtual event. I am a serial entrepreneur and the owner of T3 Diversity Solutions, which is a management consulting firm. One of the divisions of that consulting firm is called the Six Figure Society. The Six Figure Society is a community that is designed for business owners who want to make their first six figures or their next. Through this community, we have helped everyone from $0 startups to those who are now grossing over $250,000 annually. If you missed last night's presentation, one of our presenters actually gave you a foolproof formula to earn at least $200,000 every single year. So if you missed that, you want to go back and watch it. No matter the size of your business or the level of experience, there is a place for you in this society. If you stick around until the end, I have a very special offer for you that I want to make sure that you all take advantage of. The next thing that I want to say is to network. I know you're going to see our social media handles, you're going to see the presenters, the names of their businesses and their social media handles. And it's great to network with the people that you are learning from, but we also want you all to network across. So that means in the comment box, you should drop your name. What is the name of your company? How can we stay connected with you even after today? You never know who may be in need of your services, or maybe something that you say will resonate with them tonight. A few months ago, God gave me the idea to host this free virtual summit for aspiring business owners who are looking to start a new business or to formalize their hobby. This summit was to also help current entrepreneurs to grow and or scale their companies to their next six figures. Again, whether you are just now starting, launching your idea, or you're ready to scale up, we have assembled a group of dynamic leaders and experts who are going to help you secure your success in 2021. Listen, y'all, if you've been paying attention to anything in the news, 2021 is not quite acting right. I mean, we are what? 6 days in, and she's already showing her behind, okay? But that's okay because we're going to stay focused. Are you ready to rebound in 2021, but you're unsure of how to do so, especially with all of the things that are going on in our economies and governments around the world? Are you tired of struggling to reach your first six figures or your next? Do you have the systems in place to attain and sustain six figure revenue? This virtual summit is going to provide you with the secrets and strategies from real women who have experienced every stage of the six figure journey. So, without further ado, let's get into the plan for tonight. Tonight, we have two workshops. One discussing how to create a six figure business culture and build the right team to make sure that you can sustain that six figure success. The second will focus on six figure branding. Y'all, I am really, really excited about both of these presentations tonight, okay? To move from growing your business to scaling your business can feel like you are journeying through a maze. I've been there. Sometimes I feel like I have it mastered, and other times I feel like I don't. But when you come out on the other side of that maze, all of the work will have been worth it. Many people get lost at scaling their businesses because it's unclear which way to go, how to do it, who to bring along. There are so many aspects to scaling, which is why many people struggle to make it to this point. Tonight, we are going to talk about team building, workplace culture, branding, and brand positioning. This is one thing that is certain. You cannot scale your business alone. You may start alone and you may even be able to grow your business to a certain point by yourself, but scaling is all about creating duplicable systems that others can follow. So I'm going to save my input for later because I want you all to hear from our experts for tonight. If you are already a six-figure earner, but you need help with becoming a high six-figure earner, then tonight is for you. If you need help with expansion, then tonight is all about you. Both of these women have a team that works with them, and they have a proven track record of using certain scaling principles in their businesses. So I am going to bring on our first presenter into our virtual space. We're going to have her introduce herself, and then we will get into the lesson for tonight. Following her presentation, I will ask a series of questions that you all submitted when you registered for this event. If we have time, we will open up for any additional questions that you may have. I hope that you already have your notebook in front of you. I hope that you have already shared this broadcast, and I hope that you have already dropped some information about yourself into that comment box so that you can network with the other people who are in attendance. So without further ado, please welcome Irene Tyndale, who is the CEO of Irene Tyndale Weddings and Events. Hi, Irene, how are you?
I am great, sis. I'm good.
Good, 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 good. I'm so happy to have you here. We are really excited about your presentation tonight. I know that it is going to be a phenomenal presentation. I got my paper and my notes because I'm going to be taking notes as well. So again, we're really, really excited to have you. Could you just give a short introduction, tell the people who you are, what you do, and then we'll get into your presentation.
Sure. My name is Irene Tyndale. Like Tiffany said, I am the Chief Event Officer of Irene Tyndale Wedding and Events based out of Atlanta, Georgia. And I'm also a coach for new and aspiring planners, teaching them all about logistics and planning for their clients.
Awesome. Thank you so very much. Thank you. All right. So I'm not going to, belabor the point. I see people in the comment box. They're already excited and engaged. So I know this is going to be good tonight. So let me just get your screen set up here. I'm just going to take a couple of things away so that we can actually see what you're presenting. And then we are going to bring your presentation on. All right, so we are all set up, Irene. You can go ahead and get started.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. tonight, we are going to be talking about a six-figure business culture. Okay? So tonight, I just want it to be as if we were sitting down at a coffee shop or in your office or in your living room and talking all about business ownership and how you're going to handle it all and become a true CEO. So the results that I hope you get from my presentation tonight is a CEO mindset, because you have to change your mindset. And I'm sure you've heard that 1,000 times for everything that you have to do in life. But for what you're about to do, scaling your business, growing your business, starting a business, wherever you're at, you're going to have to develop a CEO mindset. We're going to define what scaling is. And I'm going to talk to you about creating a scale plan. So basically, we're going to determine your core business. We're going to talk about implementing SOPs, standard operating procedures. We're going to talk about one of my favorite things, which is the hardest thing for me to do: delegate, and then growing your village. Like Tiffany said, my name is Irene. I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a CEO, I'm a planner, I'm an author, an educator, an event manager, and logistics coach for new and aspiring wedding planners. I have over 20 years in the event planning industry, and I love it. One of the things I love to do is sharing the ins and outs of what I've learned doing my journey of becoming a better CEO. So, my entrepreneur journey is hilarious because I am what they call an accidental entrepreneur / business owner. Never had a goal to start my own business. My goal was to be the chick in the corner office, the CEO of someone else's business. It was just never in my plans. But in 2012, I was let go of a job that I loved, or like my husband loves to say, God released me to do what I was supposed to do. And then shortly after I was let go, two of my former brides from the hotels hired me. They reached out, they found out that I was thinking about starting a business. And that's how Irene Tyndale Wedding and Events was born. So I want you to know that I'm coming from a place of learning. I've been on this journey, and at times I'm still on the journey, right? I've learned from my mistakes. When I started my business, I hit the ground running. I never took the time to establish a business foundation. I turned down business and referrals because I was a team of one. I didn't care or really create business goals or a marketing plan. I was just busy working in my business and servicing my clients, which is what I love to do. I did it all. And it was so bad that often I would say to my friends and my family, I'm the worst wife, mother, daughter, sister, and friend in the spring and the fall. And for those in the wedding planning industry, those are our two busiest times of the year in the South, especially. I was working hard, but the bank statements didn't reflect it at all. So the majority of us go from a hobby to a skill or passion to an idea to action all in one breath, never stopping to make a plan, right? That's what an accidental entrepreneur is, right? But it takes more than passion and skill to be a successful business owner and entrepreneur, and even more important, to scale your business. So let's dive in a little bit. I have done a ton of research because, between my coaching and my mentoring and just in researching and becoming a better CEO, I've learned a couple of things. And the E-Myth is a great book. And in the E-Myth, Michael Gerber talks about the technician, which is where we all get started, right? The technician is a person who works in the business. It's what we love to do. It's very easy to stay there. And often, it's what we love to do. What is our passion? What is our skill? We perform the hands-on, day-to-day work. We operate in the present. And in this stage, in the technician stage, we do happen to experience growth from all of our efforts and all of basically the hamster wheel of the everyday. But that's all we're getting is the growth. And we feel like we're being successful, but there's a lot of stuff less lacking. The next level, my friends, the next level is the working on your business. Your business will help you succeed. You will scale your business while you're working on your business. It would only help you to scale your business if you learn how to work on your business. Now you say, Irene, what's working on your business? Working on your business is all the things that you don't like to do. right? It's the marketing plans, it's looking at your financials, it's creating manuals, it's hiring people, it's social media management, it's all the back end stuff. I joke all the time with our operations manager and say that if I could hire somebody to fully run the business, I would be a happy clam. Because what I love to do is create diagrams, timelines, meet with clients, meet with vendors. I love to plan. That's what I love to do. But that's not going to take me to the next level. So this is where, honestly, most of us stay, right? Most of us like staying in the technician phase or in the working in the business. But to move to the next level, this is where the magic happens. This is where you become a CEO. So these are the skills, or these are the jobs and the tasks that CEOs must do, right? It's not the pretty stuff, right? The CEO is the leader of the business or the firm who is responsible for the successes and the failures of a company, all right? So here's a list. Again, here's a list of all the responsibilities that you, the owner, are responsible for. Now, I'm not saying that you're the only one that has to do these things, but these are typically what a CEO's job entails. They do big picture thinking, there's business planning, there's maintaining the pipeline, there's networking, you're researching out to new clients and new partners and new products, you're sourcing that kind of stuff. But you also are attending conferences and workshops and listening to podcasts and hiring yourself a mentor or business coach. And the last thing, one of the last things that it's our job as CEOs is to scale and grow the business. Now, this is only if you want to, right? And sometimes we accidentally just fall into the scaling portion of it, right? I didn't realize that I needed to scale until I hired a business strategist. Until I hired, and she helped me to flush out all my processes and my workflows and what I did for, like what I did and what I stood for. And then I realized, oh, you're scaling or you want to scale. And once I figured out that I wanted to scale my business and that I wanted to scale the company, I hired a business coach. I just did because I had no idea how to do this, right? No idea. So let's dive in. I wanted to give you an example. So I looked up the best definition I could find because I wanted to give you a concrete technical definition. So I went to score.org, great resource. And they said scaling a business means setting the stage to enable and support growth in your company. It means having the ability to grow without being hampered. It requires planning, some funding, and the right systems, staff, processes, technology, and partners. Boy, that is a lot. But if you're going to scale your business, you have to figure out some things, right? And it's one of those things that you don't think about it. You kind of wake up and say, wait a minute, I have a business. And it took me a couple of years. It took me about 3 years to realize you're not playing. You have a full scale business and it's growing. You're turning down business because there's only you and a couple of assistants. And when I hired my business strategist and we went through the whole process, it was amazing to see where I needed to grow and how I was going to scale. Now, let's dive into planning for scaling your business. Listen, y'all, it starts with you. It starts with you, the CEO. No one can do this part of your job. Now, I'm not saying that you can't find help to assist you to go through these processes, because believe me, I had a lot of help. Believe me, it took some time to get a lot. What I'm telling you, this was my process of what I did. And it was a long process. I started it about the summer of 2017 is when I started it. And that's when I hired my business strategist and we went through everything. So I hired business strategists. Soon after that, I hired a business coach, did a couple of masterminds, went to some conferences, got myself a mentor at the level that I wanted to be in to kind of walk me through some of the ins and outs. But again, it starts with you. And first and foremost, you have to figure out, do I really want this? Because this is the next level. This is the level where you're not working as hard physically day to day in and out, but you're working hard mentally, right? Because you're thinking about it, because you're taking on people, you're taking on more clients, you're taking on team members, you're outsourcing. There's a lot going on here. So the first thing is the first thing you must focus on is figuring out your core values. Is what is my core business? So basically, what products or services are you going to focus on, right? So I'll give you an example. For those in the planning world, Diane Valentine is an amazing businesswoman, mentor. I call her the godmother of the wedding industry. She is a designer and a multiple of other things. She's a woman of many hats. And she says that she's in the business of love, right? Everything that she does leads back to her core value, her core business, which is love, right? Now, that's wedding planning, designing, relationship expert, TV host, beauty expert. Love is in the front of it. So love is her core business value and is her core business. Now me, a little bit more simpler. I love logistics. I love planning. I love executing. Anything to do with planning an event from start to finish, I love. I love to be in the throes of that. And a few years ago, we thought that we would throw design in there and have a whole design department, right? Like we were going to have a florist and we were just going to have a whole design department. We even had to acquire all the supplies and vessels. And I mean, we were going to be a production house, right? And it didn't work. It didn't work. It stretched myself and it stretched my team. I was being tapped a lot, even though I had a lead designer, I was still being tapped and pulled. And so we decided that we were only going to stick to planning events. That's it. The logistics, the managing, the executing, the directing, the production of events from the start to finish. So I always say that as a planner, it's my job and my responsibility to know it all, not do it all, but know it all. And that's my core business, is planning events. Now, what I don't want to see is small businesses being Walmart. We cannot, as a small business, you cannot be the Walmart of whatever your industry is. Focus on your superpower, right? So what do you want to be known for? We are known as event gladiators. You know, we're the Olivia Popes and her squad of wedding and event planning. You know, our slogan is "It's handled at Irene Tyndale." And you know, let us dot your I's and cross your T's. That is what we're known for. So you have to figure out what products and services you're going to focus on and sell. And if you're scaling, and that means you have some growth with you. So if you have some growth and you have experienced some success there, and you sell a product. So you sell soaps or candles or something like that. Look at what sells the most on your website and focus on that. Right? And let your community, let your customers tell you what next to add. But, you know, for us, we've done that too. There's some, you know, we used to offer partial planning services. We took that out. We stopped doing that because that wasn't serving us or our clients well. Now, the next thing, what are your systems and processes? Now, this is one of my favorite things. Irene, what is that? So AKA standard operating procedures, SOPs, team manuals, handbook, team handbooks, company handbook, whatever you want to call it. Now, for some of us, especially my creatives out there, this is an ugly word, right? This is an ugly phrase. But this was one of the hardest things I had to do. I had to sit down and focus on creating a manual if I was going to scale my business and bring my team along with me. Because I operated for 3 to 4 years without a manual. Y'all, it was all in my head. And my team just, bless their hearts, they just followed along and learned as they went. And I was like, I'm a learn on the job type of teacher. Just come along with me. But it was hard on them. It made their job harder. It made the job hard for the people that I hired to help me with the stress and the workload. So in the summer of 2017, like I said earlier, I hired a business strategist. She helped me flush out all of my systems, all of my processes, all of my documentation, all my workflows, templates, etc. At the time, were all in my head. And I also, at this time, was running 2 businesses, was a wife and had 2 children. And it took about 3 or 4 sessions with my business strategist to kind of map out everything. And when we were done with that, she looked at me and said, "How are you still standing? How are you still breathing? And most importantly, how do you still have a strong marriage? Because eventually something has to give." So it took about 6 months for me to go through the process of creating my manuals. And I did, and it worked out really, really well. And I would say that by the time I was done, my team was so happy that they were so happy that I had it, and they applauded and they were happy because they're like, "We could finally do the job exactly how you want us to do the job." So Irene, what is included in an SOP operations manager manual? I get this question all the time, and it's simple. It's basically a document that contains it's a document or has flow charts in it that provides guidance to the members of a company to perform their tasks, their jobs correctly and efficiently. And some of the things it may include is your company mission and vision statement, your core values, an organizational chart with everyone's roles and defined, steps to complete given processes and a task. And I'll give you an example for that. If you have a particular way that you package your, gift boxes that you send out to clients or your customers, there's certain packaging and stuff, that's a process. If you take the time to put a certain kind of line the box with navy blue tissue paper, and every box that goes out is assembled exactly the same way and wrapped the same way, that's a process. And if you need someone eventually to help you do those things so that you could do the bigger things and more CEO things, somebody needs a process for that. If you're a florist and there's flowers need to be processed a certain way, there's a format for that. There's also policies and procedures for team members, and there's workflows and templates. Basically, it's the how-tos for what you do and what you sell. This will help you figure out. Also, this will also help you figure out who you need to hire, what needs to be delegated, and what needs to be outsourced. All right, listen. It takes a village to scale a business. Tiffany said this in the opening. You can't do this alone, right? So many of us start off as solopreneurs. And for those who are starting off as solopreneurs, hats off to you. Many, many of us have been there. But I always talked about a team. I always talked about even on my website from early on, I knew that I wanted to have a team because I have a family. And when I first started my business 8 years ago, I had an older planner tell me to work my behind off and for the next 6 years, because once my son started middle school, I needed to be home when he got off the school bus. I needed to be very present in those later years. When he was in, 6th grade, my little girl was in 4th grade. She's like, "You need to be present." And so that's what I worked on over the last couple of years, was to get my team strong enough that I did not have to be present at all times or at every event. All right. I need you to understand the first thing you need to do is to learn to let go. Learn to let go, learn to ask for help, and learn to delegate. It's the hardest thing. It's still hard for me. My team had to snatch things from me. You also must have your operations manual and your processes in place, or no one will be able to help you really, or you won't be able to hire anybody, because they need direction. They need a path to do what you do, how you do it, to do what you've been doing to this point, to get you the notoriety, the followers, whatever, to get you to this point of success. You've done it a certain way, and you need to be able to communicate that to your team. It also is going to take a lot of trial and error, right? So who do I need to hire and collaborate with, right? you're going to need assistance with your workflow. So there's two sides of my team. I have my internal workings, which you'll see the picture down on the bottom. It's Tevin and Rachel. Those are my core team members. Rachel and Tevin have been with me for a few years. I met them when they were my students over at Kennesaw State, and they went through my internship program, my apprentice program, my assistant program, and now they're both managers. Rachel is a senior now senior associate planner and client manager. And then Tevin is our production manager / groom's concierge. But those are my two internal people, my left and my right hand. I love them. They're like family to me. And then I also have my external team, my collaborators is what I call them. And those are the people that I outsource everything to, right? So you have to figure out what you need and who you need to hire. Now, typically, we would say that people that are internal, who work side by side with you, might be an assistant, might be a store manager, an assistant store manager, a production manager, someone that's going to help you, in the house, help you work on whatever you need to go and produce things, a designer if you're a florist and you need a floral designer, that kind of thing. So that's what I call my internal team. Now, my collaborators, or AKA the ones I outsource with, I consider them a part of my team, even though they're selling a service. Typically, they do all the things I don't like to do, right? So typically, anytime you're going to outsource or collaborate with somebody and bringing them into your business to help you scale, they're going to do the things that you don't like to do or are not good at. And how do you figure those things out? Typically are the things that are on your to-do list that keep going to the next month and the next month, and let's face it, the next year, right? It's the things that you hate to do. The redoing the website, the blogging, the social media. It's the things that you neglect. Those are the things that need to be outsourced and you need to have somebody to help you with. So we have our internal team and we have our external team, but you need to figure out who you want to bring on and who's going to help you do what you do and service your clients better. Now, hire slow. This is a lesson I have learned way too hard by hiring fast. Listen, make sure you take your time hiring. Do not hire when you're stressed. Do not hire when you're rushed. Do not hire when you are, all those things. You will not make a good judgment, right? If you know, for those, and I speak kind of in the planning world, but for those of us who are planners or in the event industry, you don't start hiring somebody the week of your busiest season or your busiest month. For those of you out there that produce product like shirts or jewelry or toys or whatever the case might be, that there's certain times of the year that is busy. Right? Christmas time is the busiest time typically for anybody who's selling a product, right? So you don't go and hire a warehouse manager Black Friday. Like, you just don't do that, right? So hire slow, right? Internal team members work side by side with you. Remember that. They're daily. They're the one you see them daily. They're a little bit about their life. They help you create the company's culture and your team culture. Find people who are passionate about your market, your industry, products, and love your business. Treat them well, train them, and that's why you have an SOP, and that's why you have manuals, because you're going to train them to do their job, and you're going to train them to do their job well. Trust them, but as one of my mentors, Janelle Boyd, says, trust but verify, because that is the job of a CEO. Train them up, let them go and do what they do. And they might make some mistakes. And I always tell my team, as long as a mistake doesn't cost us a bunch of money and not costing the client money, we can handle it, right? Now, outsourcing or collaborating with the team, again, these are the team members that are external members. These are the people that you outsource. But look outside of your circle and find people who specialize in what you don't do well. That's what I did, right? Find somebody to, help you with whether it's a service that they provide or a product that they provide to make your life easier and make you serving your clients better. Example, with technology, we use Dubsado for our contracts and our proposals and our payments. We have Our Planner for our couples to train up in. And that's a technology. When it comes to humans, we have an operations manager, a social media manager, a brand manager, and they all help us to do our job better, and they help us to serve our clients better. So if the goal is to scale, you need to become a true CEO. You need to determine your core business. What are you going to be known for? What are you going to focus on? What are you going to sell? You need to establish solid systems and manuals. And you need to determine your village. Okay? Now, this all will take investment of time, investment of money. But in the end, I promise you, it's all worth it when you see an increase in revenue and efficiency and growth without your business and personalized suffering or overstretching yourself. Thank you. So I have a couple of I love to connect, and like Tiffany was saying, please connect with me. I hope this was very helpful. On Facebook, you can find me on Facebook at iTyndale Events. On Instagram, my coaching site is Irene Tyndale, and the planning site is iTyndale Events. Ready for some questions?
Awesome. So we are going to segue into the Q&A session. Can you all just, drop a couple of comments? Let us know, if that was helpful. Was it good? Did you understand? What are you feeling and what are you thinking? We also just encourage you to continue to share this broadcast. If it's good for you, it's going to be good for someone else. It's free, but we want to make sure we definitely get the information and the message out there. So let's just take a look at a couple of comments before we get into the Q&A portion. Let's see. So thank you to everyone who tuned in. We have people from North Carolina, Pennsylvania, New York, Georgia. So all up and down the East Coast, it looks like is representing today. And we'll get to some of those questions. There was a comment that I put from day one. I spoke like I had a team. I think that's really important. It's important for mindset, and also it's not being a fraud or anything like that, but I really spoke what I believed would happen. I had a team pretty early on, even though they weren't paid. I had a team pretty early on. Brenda says, I need a team right now, but I understand that I need processes in place first to give direction. That is extremely important. And one of the things that I always tell people is like, I had a conversation with a client recently, and she's like, I need a team. And I'm like, no, you don't. You need to make more time in your business. You don't need a team. Right. And I think that's a hard conversation that we have to have with ourselves sometimes, to say, I don't need a team. I need to work harder and make more time for my business. So one of the things that I always tell my clients is that you will know when it is time for you to take the next step in your business. If you are praying over your business and you have discernment, you will know when it is time for you to take that next step and to bring on that team. Shauna said that she definitely needs to work on establishing systems. We all do. Brenda said this was super helpful. Avista said it was great information. And Brittany shouted, "Go Irene!" All right, so we're going to get to the Q&A portion right now. Really excited for this portion. So again, we have some questions that have already come in, and then we're going to ask some of the questions that are all that were presented on the screen. So Irene, I know you have your full screen. So if you want to take away the PowerPoint presentation so you can see yourself. See yourself on the screen. There you are.
I need to add this. Ask me to what you said about your business will tell you. Also, sometimes when you scale to a certain level, the next level, you need to be reminded of that. Like Tiffany reminded me of that on our session last month, was like, I need you to start focusing on the next 5 years, because listen, y'all, I'll be 45 in April. And so she's like, you have 5 more years to 50. And I was like, oh, Now, I'm not scared of the number, but the idea of what's next. Like the kids, I have one graduates in 6 years, one graduates in 8 years. What's next? And I was like, oh, I'm over here like living my life at my scaled level. And she's talking about bring it up some more.
Yeah, yeah, because we're building legacy businesses, and we kind of talked about that last night. And I think it's important that when you're building a business, that you build with legacy in mind. And again, for the parents, the spouses that are on here, whether you're a wife or a husband, or the partner, however you identify, you need to be thinking about what's next. Like, yes, you should plan in the 1 year, the 3 year, the 5 year, and the 10 year. But if for you, like using Irene's example, 10 years is age 55, right? At some point, like, what's the plan for retirement? What do you want to do in the next chapter? And then also for someone like Irene, if you're watching and her story resonates with you, she's already been doing this for 20 years. Right. And we don't want to, for me, it was less about the 50 and more about the fact that you've already been doing this for 20 years. Do you want to continue to do this for another 20 years, or is there something else that you want to do? So when you are scaling, you want to keep that in mind that, yes, I'm scaling for this business to grow and all of that, but I'm also scaling for freedom to do the other things that I want to do so that I'm not, tied to what I've done for the past 20 years. So thank you for sharing that and being transparent. Mm-hmm. So you talked about, you kind of touched on the employees that you have and all of that, but one of the questions is, how many employees do you have and what are their functions? So if you want to add anything to what you already shared, feel free. If not, we'll go on to the next question.
Yeah, I mean, Rachel has been with me. I mean, it's so funny. She was my student for a little bit, and then she's been, so I always say she's been with me 4 years, but she's been with us 3 years, and she's moved up, and I've pushed her to go to the next level. Like, I'm like, no, you're ready. No, I'm like, no, you're ready. Cause I'm ready too. Like you're ready. I'm ready. Let's go. But no, Rachel's job, she takes on weddings of herself. I mean, we've had, even in the midst of the pandemic, we were blessed to have a good amount of weddings. And there was weekends where I'm at home with the family, literally in my sweats, and her and Tevin are working, and it feels really good. There's times I've been on vacation and, and they're working. There's times I've literally blacked out a whole month and be like, mama's not working this month. And I'm going to hang out with the kids. Or I'm going to go to Florida for 2 weeks with mom. And so that's been really good. And then Tevin, he loves the behind the scenes. He loves the logistics. He loves, interacting with the vendors and making sure things are perfect. Like he's like a mini me in some sense when it comes to logistics. And so he handles a lot of the behind, like for our bigger weddings and our bigger productions, he's managing load-ins and all that stuff so that I can focus on the client, I could focus on the bride or whatever the case may be, like the front of the house, and he does the back of the house. But he's also a clothier, and he is our groom's concierge. So he takes care of all of our full service grooms, which is great because the guys are clueless. And then Rachel this year has become a live streaming wedding guru. And so she's techie and she's a great writer. So that's Rachel. And then we have our whole, outsourced team that I still love on them, and I still bring them in for calls and all that stuff. So yes, it's a small little village. And I used to think that I needed a huge team, and then I withered down to these last two, my internal ones, the ones that work in the Beehive, and it's great.
Yeah, I love that. So Brenda just posted a comment. She said, I wish I could take a month off and still be secure. What I will tell you, okay?
I'm not working. The business is working. That's why you need some SOPs, and you need a little team, and you need to outsource, because things are still happening, y'all. I'm still getting inquiries and stuff like that. It's not like I'm not working. It's just I'm not physically here.
Yeah. And I was actually talking to two of my girlfriends last week about the same thing, where we were talking about like we're off from work. And one of my girlfriends was like, I'm never really off from work. And we all agreed that like, yes, when I say that I'm off, that means that I'm not taking any client facing right. I'm not doing sessions, meetings, any of that, but there is always behind the scenes stuff that needs to be done, even when you have a team. Right. And then the other thing that I will say, though, is that there have been times in 2020 where I was literally able to take off, and my clients know this. It was like, okay, I'm off, like off, or I'm off is in if your business is burning down, you can message
Right.
me.
And that's how it is. Right.
Yeah, there's
My
definitely two levels for me of being off from work. But in December and in October, I took 2 weeks off, like off from
Yep.
work. And the business is still standing, but this is also at 9 years of business ownership, right? So this is not year 1, 3, or 5, but this is at year 9. And the people that I was talking to, they've been in business for 9, 10, 11 years. And they said the same thing. Like it takes time to get to the point to be able to like really, really take time off and your business still be standing when you get back.
Right. Because the people that are on my team are able to answer questions and help people. And if it's an emergency or if it's something that happens that they're like, we have never experienced this, and the only one that could answer is Oz herself, and they call on me, but it's a text message and they, they have it, but the phone gets forwarded to somebody else, all that stuff. But yeah, you're right. It took a while. I mean, I would say that I've only been able to do that the last year and a half, 2 years. So yeah, it takes time.
Definitely. All right. So moving on to the next question. You were talking about Tevin and what he loves to do. As a employer and as someone who has scaled and continues to scale their business, how do you factor in what someone loves to do, right? What role does that play in the function that they have within your company?
Well, listen, everybody comes, everybody thinks that what we do, what I do, I'm a planner, right? It's glamorous. Like the television, reality shows it to be like what we do is super glamorous. I had a girl come in volunteer. This was years ago because she was a nursing student and she wanted to be a planner. And she came and did one wedding with us, Tiffany, worked a 16-hour day, was it was my first, as a company, it was my first like full service, full scale, multiple rooms, it was amazing. And she came and she helped. And I typically don't check in with everybody on Sunday and Monday. I wait till Tuesday because on Tuesday morning, I opened up my text message and she was like, I'm sticking to nursing. That was too much, So, exactly. But it takes time sometimes because if somebody has the passion, I think it's Dave Ramsey says that he hires passion over experience any day. But if someone has a desire to be in the industry and a little experience, or they're going to school for hospitality or something like that, I give them a chance. But that's why we have multiple levels. You can't come on in as an event assistant or an intern. Like you're interning, you're being an apprentice. Like I kind of run them to the gamut because I've learned over time thinking because I'm desperate or I was hiring too fast, and my stories. And I'm like, oh, sure. And sometimes somebody's passionate about the industry, but they just don't have it. They're not learning. They're not learning my way, because that's a big thing. Because at the end of the day, yes, I can make you be a completely different person, but when you're on my clock wearing my logo, I'm sorry. And I love my people, and I'm such a personable person. It's so hard to let people go or and I never want to tell somebody this is not for you. This industry is not for you. I just say, we're not a good fit. I mean, honestly, it's not you, it's me type of thing. But I always tell my team, my name is on the door, not yours. So, but they love my business. And it's funny because it's the internal team and my external team. They love on my business as much as I do, if not more at times. And so, the most important thing for me is if they're fit for the culture of the team. We are a family. I am 100% raw and honest with my team. When things are good, they're good. And when things are bad, they're bad. If I have to scold them or yell at them and vice versa, they've told me to get out. I've come in a room after I delegate and they're like, why are you in here? Go. We know what we're doing. And so it's really much that, but it took a long time to get there.
Gotcha. Thank you. So we'll come back to those questions. I want to get to some of the live questions. So we have a question from Brenda. Excuse me. And it says, how early in the business would you recommend hiring a business coach?
Honestly, if I had the funds in the beginning, I would have done it from 8 years ago.
Yep.
I would have done it 8 years ago because there's a lot of things that I learned on my own. And, YouTube University, Google University, the people that you love. Listen, I followed Tiffany for like 2 or 3 years before I hired Tiffany. I had discovery calls with her. she sold something for $20, $30 that I could forward, her devotional mornings with God, whatever it was. And so I was like, I'm going to hire her, because not only that, she was a planner. So she was a planner. She was a woman of God. So I was like, okay, I want to hire her. Same thing with my mentor, who's also one of my coaches, Janelle Boyd. Same thing. It's like, okay, I love them. How can I work with them? But if I could have hired somebody early on, I would. But if you're in the stage of where you want to go to the next level, regardless if you just started out, reach out to a business coach, because like Tiffany said earlier, everybody has different levels. I was in a Facebook group today, and the question was, what do you outsource, or what would you outsource in 2021? Like, what's your goal? And I'm like, Pinterest. Like, I want to outsource my Pinterest, because it's just like my social media. I'm like, I'm in a visual industry. I need Pinterest to be like looking like my website. And somebody was like, well, social media, but I can't afford it. I'm like, you just have to keep digging around. You'll be able to find somebody within your bracket. You might know, you don't know. So yeah, I would have done it earlier than, and I had mentors, but a coach is just what it is. They're going to kick your butt, blow the whistle, and make you run down the field.
Yeah, definitely. I would say the same thing. So I actually hired my first business coach about 18 months into owning my business, which was really early, and I'm grateful for that. I hired the next one, I think at year 4 of business ownership. So I had coaches pretty early. And to be honest with you, though, I hired both of my business coaches when I was on unemployment. So the first time I had gotten laid off from a job, or fired, however you want to say it, in January of 2013, I started working with my first coach, I think in like May or June or something like that. And that was a 1-year program similar to the Six Figure Society programs that we have. And that's why I offer those programs, because those programs help me. Without that reasonable investment. And to me at the time, it was very expensive because I was on unemployment, but now I know that it was a very reasonable investment. If I didn't have that, I wouldn't be where I am today.
Right.
That is why the Six Figure Society is my baby, because I know what it's like to need that help, but to also be in a place where you can't afford $1,000 or $2,000 or $3,000 a month for these services. And then the next person that I hired, so I hired that person to get me started. And when I was ready to grow my business, I had to hire a different coach. And different coaches do different things. Within my company, we do help with starting, growing, and scaling. We have different levels for everyone, but not every coach does that. So it's important that you know what your potential coach specializes in. And once I got, through the growing phase, and I think I'm between like growing and scaling. Like some days I'm growing, some days I'm scaling. But, when I got to this place, it wasn't so much that I needed a business coach. I needed different types of experts around me.
That's good.
The consulting session, I'll book a consulting session, but I needed like really, really good accountants and really, really good like brand people and graphic designers and people who could lay out a book. And because my life has changed from where it was in year 4. So hopefully that answers that question. We are running low on time, so I'm going to get back to our final 2 questions. If you can answer these questions in 60 seconds or less, that would be great.
Ma'am.
The first question is, how has COVID impacted your business?
Listen, y'all, like I think Tiffany did a post recently about the projections that she had made for 2020 for her business. And, in 2019 and 2018 and 2019, we made 6 figures, and we were close to doubling that for 2020. And in my coaching sessions every month with Tiffany, she asks you like, what is your revenue to this point? And it, forces me to look at my numbers. And when I pulled them out for December, I was like, Jesus, but we're still standing.
We just hollered.
Like, where is my money weighing, Lord? Where happened to my monies? We're still standing. But it was hard to see those funds go. But more than that, though, too, is just like, just it was draining. It was emotional, because what we do, I mean, listen, we're not love my clients to death, love weddings to death, or to life, like Tiffany says, but we're not curing cancer. Like, I love what I do, but it's not, is it the end of the world? No, but for somebody who's been planning for, 6 months, a year and a half, spending anywhere from 50 to 150 to $300,000, it's a lot. It's a lot, and it's emotional. And so, it did that. I mean, we went from having, 20 something weddings on the books, but, we pivoted. And we offered, we did 2 regular, like I call them traditional weddings. Now you could say that, traditional size weddings. We did 9 micro weddings and 7 small intimate weddings in 2020. We were published in over 18 places. We did, so we did a lot of work from home and what we could. But yeah, financially, we were hit hard.
And we were one of the hardest hit industries by the pandemic. Like, we had somebody on day one who's in the events industry as well. And she talked about, that same experience. And they actually started their business. All the people in day one were like year one businesses. So they started either right before the pandemic or like at the top of 2020, having no idea that these things were going to happen. So the last question, and again, if we can get this in 60 seconds or less, what role has business coaching or consulting played in your success thus far?
It's when you're a business owner, unless you're blessed enough to have a bunch of friends or family members that are also entrepreneur and business owners, people get tired of hearing your mess, right? I'm just blessed enough that I have a husband who has a business brain, and a marketing brain. So we talk business all day long, but it's nice to talk to someone who's been where you've been, who was in your industry, who pivoted, is still who understands your industry. So it's been a great thing. The other thing that I think for me, the biggest role in my success has been I'm typically the pusher. I'm typically the encourager. I'm typically the mentor, the coach for other people. And I'm always pouring into my team, my friends, my frienders, or my business betsies. Like, I'm always pouring into everyone. So it's nice to have somebody pour into me. Besides Tiffany, my business operations manager, Wanda, I work for her because she tells me what to do, and she tells me, no, you can't do that. And then if I tell her Tiffany said X, Y, Z, she said, well, remember, Tiffany said we can't do that right now because you don't have that kind of money to be spending on that. So having somebody, it's like a mama bear, like having somebody tell you, yay, no, we talked about this 3 months ago, why you haven't done it? Or not to beat you up when you realize something you've talked about for 2-3 years and you're finally going to do it.
Yeah, and that's real. You need somebody to push you, but somebody who's not going to beat you up as well.
Make you feel bad about yourself.
Yeah. So thank you, Irene, for this time together. Thank you for sharing your experiences, your stories, your knowledge, your wisdom. Can we all just give Irene a virtual round of applause? Thank you for tuning in, for being here with us, rather, and for everything that you poured out. And I know that it will be restored unto you. So we are going to go ahead and kick you out of our virtual space so we can take a short intermission and come back for our second session. Thank you so very much.
Thank you. Bye, y'all.
Bye. All righty. So I hope that was good for you. I saw the comments. I know that you all are, really excited about everything that Irene taught, and a lot of it resonated with you all. As a reminder, because you participated in this summit, you are going to receive a complimentary 360 business analysis session. That is a free session with me where we are going to evaluate your current business standing, what your goals are, and then we're going to figure out how we can help you to reach those goals and even to surpass those goals in 2021 and beyond. So if you need any type of help in business, you should really be taking advantage of that complimentary session. You can visit that website that's on your screen, use that discount code, and you'll get a complimentary business session. So what would normally cost you $97 is going to be completely free. If you already know that you are ready to be a part of the Six Figure Society, then the information for you to join the Six Figure Society is currently scrolling across the bottom of your screen. Visit T3 Diversity Solutions /SFS, which stands for Six Figure Society. When you go there, you will find all of the information about what we do with the Six Figure Society. You will also find the information about our different programs. If you want to have a DIY type of thing, if you want a one-time session, you want to do the group program, or you desire to have one-on-one consulting, whatever you want, there is something there for you. The one thing that I do want to note is that complimentary 360 business analysis offer ends tomorrow. So if you want to take advantage of it, do it today. Do not wait until tomorrow, because people have been booking every single day of the summit. And I'm grateful for that and really excited to work with you all. The other part is that on February 1st, 2021, the investment for the Six Figure Society is going to be increasing. So if you want to take advantage of those current price points that you see on the website, you need to make sure that you join us before January 31st, 2021, because when that clock strikes midnight, the investment is going to increase. We are, giving more value. We're changing up some things. Some offerings will no longer be available anymore. We'll be adding some new things. So all of that kicks off February 1st. But if you want to get in on the good deal, make sure you do it before January 31st. So with that being said, we are going to take a short intermission. We are going to come back in about 2 to 3 minutes. So we'll come back at 8:05 Eastern time. So that's 5 after the hour, wherever you may be, because we've actually had people tuning in from around the world. I haven't even talked about that, but literally around the world, people have saw the summit, right? So again, in about 2 minutes, at 5 after the hour, we will come back with our second presentation. So leave your screen up, leave everything like it is, take a quick bathroom break, get some water, stretch your legs, and we're going to come back to you in a few moments. All right. We are back. Welcome, welcome, welcome back. I hope that you had a good bathroom break, a good stretch break. I didn't move anywhere, so it wasn't that good for me, but we just needed a breather, make sure our next presenter is all set up and ready, which she is. So, welcome back. For some of you, I see that our viewer count is actually increasing. So, I think that we have a few new people who are joining us for the final night of the Six Figure Summit. I'm so excited that you decided to do that. Very grateful for that, and welcome to the Six Figure Summit. As you join in, please say hello and let us know where you are tuning in from. So you should be able to put that in the chat box that is located on your screen. Get engaged by telling us what you are looking forward to most tonight. We are in our final presentation of the night, our final presentation of this entire event, and we want you to let us know what you're looking forward to. Make sure that you all are not only networking with the people who you see on your screen, but that you are also networking across. So go through those comments, follow people on social media, connect with them so that you can, network and continue to build your network even virtually. I also ask that you please share this broadcast. If it is good for you, that means that it is good for other people. You can share this link to Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn and other social media platforms by clicking the share button that is located just below this video. When you share to social media, which we hope that you do, we only ask that you do two simple things. We ask that you use the hashtag the Six Figure Summit, and we also ask that you tag the Six Figure Society. We want to know what you're saying on social media about this event that we have put together. So again, please, please, please share this broadcast, okay? And so if you're just now tuning in, welcome to the Six Figure Summit, which is presented by the Six Figure Society in partnership with Brittany Smith Creative Company. My name is Tiffany Gillespie, and I will be your host for this virtual event. I am a serial entrepreneur and the owner of T3 Diversity Solutions, which is a management consulting firm. One of the divisions of that consulting firm is the Six Figure Society, which is the host for this event that you're participating in. The Six Figure Society is a community that is designed for business owners who want to make their first six figures or their next. Through this community, we have helped clients from $0 startups through grossing over $250,000 annually. So no matter the size of your business or your level of experience, there is a place for you in the society. A few months ago, God gave me the idea to host this free virtual summit. And over the past 3 days, we have been able to help business owners who are just starting out, those who are growing, and those who are trying to scale their businesses. Tonight, we have already had one workshop where we discussed how to create a six-figure business culture and to build the right team that will sustain that success. The next presentation that we're going to have, and our final presentation, not only for the night, but for this entire event, is going to focus on six-figure branding. To move from growing your business to scaling it can feel like you are journeying through a maze, but when you come out on the other side and you implement this knowledge that you have learned tonight, all of the work will have been worth it. There is one thing that is sure: you cannot scale by yourself. You started alone. I know you did, and that's okay. You grew your business to a certain point by yourself, and that's admirable. But in order to scale, you must create duplicable systems that others can follow. We're going to talk a little bit more about that later, but both of the women who have presented tonight and your final presenter has a team that works with them, and they have a proven track record of using certain scaling principles in business. So without further ado, I am going to bring our second and final presenter into our virtual space. She is going to introduce herself. Let me get her on screen, y'all. She is going to introduce herself, and then we are going to let her do her presentation and do her thing. And then after her presentation, I'm going to ask the questions that you all already submitted when you registered for this event. If we have time, we will take some of the live questions. We were able to do so in our last session, and hopefully we'll be able to do the same with this session. All right, so without further ado, Miss Brittany, can you go ahead and introduce yourself and let the people know who you are?
Yes. Hello, Six Figure Society and friends. My name is Brittany N. Smith of Brittany Smith Creative Company. And what we do is we help emerging and evolving women leaders, decision makers, and entrepreneurs cultivate, create, and monetize an authentic personal brand. Personal branding is what we do, baby.
I love it. I love it. And I love your energy. I know you're excited for tonight. I'm excited for tonight. So again, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get her presentation queued up here. And Miss Brittany, your presentation is now full screen and you can take it away from here.
Awesome. Thank you so much for this opportunity. And Tiffany, if I could be honest, if you said, and she's closing out this summit one more time, I was going to melt underneath my desk. But I am so excited to be here with you all. And tonight, as Tiffany mentioned, we are talking about six-figure branding. And one of the things that I'm excited about is that every presentation up until this point literally wove a thread through what we're going to talk about tonight. So I think that this presentation tonight is going to really put a nice bow on the information that we received. So let's go ahead and get into it. Again, I'm Brittany Smith of Brittany Smith Creative Company, where we help emerging and evolving women leaders, decision makers, and entrepreneurs create, cultivate, and monetize their personal brands. You come to us and say, look, I need help. I want to do X, Y, and Z. And we will take you from start to finish and manifesting that thing, not only so that it can be real, but so that you can make some money. All right. So I'm happy to be here. And listen, I want you guys to engage in the comments. I might not be able to see them now, but I'm going to go back and read what you said. So make sure you respond with a yes, a hey now, a period, or whatever you want to say, so we know that you are picking up what I'm putting down. So before we get into it, I felt like because I'm closing out the summit that I needed to bring us back to a common ground of knowing why we're here and being encouraged and motivated. That the fact that you are a part of this summit is already an indicator that you are on track to do what God has called you to do in your life and be successful for real, for real. So I was in my kitchen on Saturday and I had an epiphany. It hit me like a ton of bricks. And I realized, y'all ready for this? I realized that holding back has literally done nothing else but hold me back from the success that I could see and feel. If you're an entrepreneur, or if you want to be an entrepreneur, you have had that dream. You have had that vision of seeing yourself with that legacy being built for your family, seeing yourself serving those hundreds of thousands of people, seeing yourself on those big stages. And I realized that I have been playing it safe up until now. I realized that after having my first 5-figure year, after working with a pop-in business coach, after attending $1,000 retreat virtual event, after exposing myself to other women who were making 6 figures or more, who I wanted to also follow in their footsteps, I realized that after doing all of that, that 6 figures ain't safe. 6 figures ain't safe. So if you are on your way, if you are on track to building a 6-figure business, and as we're going to talk about tonight, a 6-figure brand, you need to know that the journey that you're about to embark on is not a safe journey. It is not a comfortable journey. Scaling up your brand is scary, honey. Okay. It is scary because you are moving into waters that you've never been in before. But I need you to remember right now in this moment, it might be a new ocean that you're in, but you can swim. I don't know if you've ever been in a situation where you were really terrified of something because you forgot that this is what you do. You forgot that you know how to do this. All right. So remember that 6 figures ain't safe as you think about how we're getting ready to level up in your brand. All right. So tonight's subtitle is No Cap 6-Figure Branding. No Cap 6-Figure Branding. All right, I'm going to go on to let you know what we're going to talk about with some objectives, and I'm going to come back to this screen so it can rest in your mind. If you're taking notes tonight, I want you to know, one, what your brand should do for you, one of the roles that your branding should fulfill for you. 2, creating a brand with no limits. All right. Number 3, I need you to know that your brand is more than just a logo. So many people I work with, they're like, yeah, I need help with my branding. I need a logo. Child, the logo is like one of the last things that we work on in the branding process. And then number 4, I'm going to hit you guys with an extensive no cap branding checklist. All right, so we're going to fly because we got a lot to cover. And Tiffany said I need to be done 30 minutes. So let me come back to this screen. All right, I want you to etch this into your mind. I need you to understand that you do not make 6 figures in your business, let alone develop a 6-figure brand by playing it safe. People are not going to take you seriously if you play it safe all the time. In the year that we've had in 2020, we've been bullied into clinging to safe, trying to find ways to be brilliant, but with a filter on. But that's over and done with because you messed around and made it into 2021. So with that being said, let's get into this content. You know when something's your jam, when you can talk about it for a long time. So I'm going to really try to stay on track. All right. So the title is No Cap 6-Figure Branding. If you talk slang, no cap on one hand means no lie. Like I'm telling the 100 honest truth, right? It means that being an entrepreneur in our sense is hard work. So you would say no cap after that. Type no cap in the comments. In 2021, I'm going where the money resides. No cap, right? The 6-Figure Summit changed the trajectory of my business. No cap. You see how that works? So I need you to understand that that's one side of no cap. We're going to be talking about building a brand that's built on truth, built on authenticity. All right. We've heard that word a couple of times. All right. So let's move on to point number 1. We're going to stay on this screen for a minute. What your brand should do, the role of your brand. Your brand ought to express the very essence of who you are or who your company is. It should tell your stories. It should speak your language. It should echo your values. It should champion your causes and align with your beliefs. 6-figure brands are authentic. They tell their truth and they don't ever deviate. Successful 6-figure brands are able to be sustained with their banner or the visual that they've provided that you know them for, but they're able to come out with new products because those products and those services don't deviate from their truth. So if I am thinking of a company like Dove is not going to come out with an ice cream line because that's deviating from their truth. But they can come out with soap. They can come out with deodorant. They can come out with body spray. They can come out with things that either cleanse your body or make you smell good, right? They can come out with all kinds of body products because that is true to who they are. They don't deviate from that. And their product line will say that, and so will their advertising and so forth and so on. So in the sense of the term, your brand should promise something you can deliver with excellence, creativity, and brilliance, but without gimmick. If you have to reach to make a product fit into the messaging of your brand or fit into the consistency of your brand, you might be deviating a little bit. You need to be authentic and you need to stick to your truth. No cap. All right. The next thing is your brand has a specific job. I want you to imagine your brand as the person who goes into the room before you arrive. Like your brand is like a herald for you. People are going to meet your brand, especially in this day and age where everything is digital. People are going to meet your brand before they ever come into contact with you, before they ever get on a consultation call, before they ever get that product in their hand. They're going to meet your brand first. All right. So it's like your client will meet them. Your client's going to meet them first. Your brand is like that herald that says, make way for Brittany Smith Creative Company. I want you to think about what your first thought was when you saw my opening slide, right? You met my slide before you met me. That is what your brand does. Your brand paves the way. Your brand puts down the palm branches like Jesus entering into the city, right? Your brand paves the way for you. All right. So it's imperative that your brand that precedes your business is authentic and accurate. So people are not caught off guard when they meet you or when they meet your product. There is nothing worse. Okay. All right. Sidebar. There's nothing worse. Like, I don't know if you've ever ordered something off of wish.com or some of these hair websites. Ladies, come on. And you see this beautiful picture of this beautiful product and the branding, the way they package it, it looks really nice. And then you get it in the mail and it looks like I don't even know, a cow's tail. And you think they're like, you're supposed to wear this on your head, right? That is what you do not want. And so when you're scaling up, you have to do everything that you possibly can to make sure that there's continuity between what you are presenting and what you are providing. All right. Next, your brand is more than a logo. I promise you, people love to start with the colors and the logo. They want to go ahead and dress the thing before the thing even has meat on the bones. During the summit so far, we've engaged in excellent conversation about what it is to operate in a product-based business and a service-based business. We heard about how to develop the right offerings and tell the right stories and cultivate the right culture. But if you get through all of that and slap some colors and a logo on it just because I like fuchsia, so we're going to have fuchsia as our colors, and fuchsia and neon green, those are my favorite colors, so we're just going to slap it up there, you are going to miss out on major opportunity because there's a science that goes into why you choose the colors that you choose. All right. There's a science that goes into what kind of logo you choose based on what kind of audience you're going after, what kind of industry you're in. All right. So I wanted to lay that foundation because the checklist is where I want to spend most of our time getting into this, this no cap 6-figure branding checklist. I'm going to go pretty quickly through it. And I need you to know that there's a free download where you can download a PDF version of this so you can kind of flesh out your notes later. But I want you to listen very carefully. This checklist is going to give you an idea of, one, what goes into developing a brand, and two, the areas you may need to incorporate or revisit in your own business. Listen, if you're just starting out, I do not expect you, nor do I want you to try and tackle all of these different areas. There's 15 total. I don't want you to try and tackle all of these areas. But if you're scaling up, that means that you have some of these on lock. And so I hopefully will be able to give you some insight as to the other areas that you can work on that will help you go to the next level in your business. All right. And for all you Beyonce Obamas out there, I know you're great and powerful and can do it all. But like I said, when you see this list, don't try to do it all at once. Take it piece by piece. Go at your own pace and build your 6-figure brand. All right. So if you're ready, I need you to drop in the comments. Let me know that you're ready. We're ready to do this thing. And here we go. All right. So of course we have an acronym for no cap. So each letter has 3 items with it. Let's go ahead and rock and roll. Some of these terms you're going to be familiar with. Some of them you may not be. Let's just go with it. All right. So your niche, some people say niche, whatever way you pronounce it. This is one of the most important parts of your brand, because if you do not know who you're aiming at, you are going to be spinning your wheels and wasting your time, your money, and your resources shooting into the dark and not landing any coin. All right. And listen, it's okay if you're in the beginning of your business. I know I went through this. A lot of entrepreneurs have gone through this where we were just aiming at everybody. We just wanted to help everybody. We wanted to see everybody lose the weight. We wanted to see everybody buy the flyer. We wanted to see everybody try the food. But at the end of the day, you can't serve everybody. You're not supposed to serve everybody. There's 7-something billion people in the world. There's enough people to go around. So the closer you can hone in on who exactly you're supposed to reach, the more money you can make. Why? Because niching down is like, or not having a niche, let's put it this way. When you don't have a niche, you can feed a person one time. But when you do have a niche, those people will come back again and again and again because they love what you're serving. All right. So that's why it's important to your brand to have a niche. Your niche also informs how you present yourself. All right. If you're trying to aim at teenagers, you're not going to have plaid as your main color combination. Right. Or if you're trying to reach women, you're not going to use all dark, solid colors necessarily. Right. You're not going to show up on these male websites if you're trying to reach for women. Right. So these are the things you need to think about when you're considering who your niche is. Narrow it down some more. I know you think you did already, but at the beginning of this year in the 6-figure summit, I need you to narrow it down some more. All right. Your network. This is huge. This is huge. We can't go out like we used to go out. Social media is inundated like it's never been inundated before. So your network, is a major part of your brand. One, the visual presentation of your brand is going to meet people before you do, like I said before. But two, the relationships that you build are going to vouch for you in getting you other money-making relationships, other door-opening relationships. So it's important as a part of your branding that you make space for building up your network. My business specifically, referrals and word of mouth have taken us a mighty long way. Thank the Lord. The people who you connect with, be intentional about connecting with connectors. And again, like I said, you are your brand. So if they're meeting you before they see any of your work, kudos to you. You have work to do because you are your brand. All right. So whether they meet your designs or whether they meet you first, your network is going to determine how successful you can be and just how far you can scale up. There is some truth to it's not about what you know to it's who you know. There's a level of truth to that. Now, you need to know your stuff, but you also need to leverage your relationships. All right. Notice the market. As you are scaling up, you need to be aware of what other people or other businesses are doing in your industry. If everybody is staying away from a certain thing or a certain product or a certain product type, you need to research why. It doesn't mean that you also need to stay away from it, but you need to research why. Be aware of what's happening in the market. Be aware of what's happening within your specific industry. Be aware of what's happening within the world. This will allow you to be relevant. When you are relevant, it is more likely for you to scale up more smoothly than when you are not relevant because you're shooting in the dark and trying to figure it out. One of the biggest mistakes I made as I was starting out was not being aware of what was going on in the public. I was just like, yo, I have this book I want to write. Bam, take this book. And then wonder why nobody wanted to buy the book. I didn't do my homework. I didn't know who my niche was. I didn't have a network of people that I've cultivated that were ready for the product. And I wasn't aware of the market. I didn't prepare the market for my product. All right. So that's N. O, organization. So you want to make sure that you're organized. That means your offerings need to be organized. Your pricing needs to be organized. The roles of your staff needs to be organized. There's nothing worse than trying to run a business that is steeped in chaos. All right. And what happens is when your business is steeped in chaos, y'all, your customer gets chaos from you. When people call you and say, hey, I want to get a logo, you're like, oh, hold up. Let me get my price list. Oh, wait, that's last year's prices. Hold up. Let me see how much I want to charge. No. If you are scaling up, you are organized. You have your pricing together, your offerings together, your team together. You have, you know what types of work you will do and what types of work you won't do. Listen, when you scale up, you have to narrow down what you do. Okay. You have to narrow down what you focus on if you want to scale up. You want to do a few things, right, Tiffany? You want to do a few things really, 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 really well, because I'm telling you, there's money in that. There's money attached to your focus. All right. Optimization. Let me tell you something. When the pandemic hit, the businesses that bounced back, or the businesses that transitioned well into the pandemic, were the ones that optimized their business for the new format of the market or the new layout of their industry, right? If you are a brick and mortar business and you didn't pay your website any mind before the pandemic, you best believe those businesses struggled tremendously more than the businesses that tended to their websites, the businesses that were already working with their social media platforms to make sure that they already had a presence online, because they weren't able to even do the brick and mortar thing anymore at first, right? So you want to make sure that you're looking for opportunities to optimize your operation. All right. And then the next one is thinking out of the box. Thinking out of the box, being the first, being edgy, being relatable. Some things are standard for your industry, but then there are areas in which you can bend or push the envelope, rather. Don't be afraid to push the envelope. If I haven't learned anything from 2020 to now, is that there really still is no limit. There really are firsts to still be accomplished. There really are still new ways to do things and new ways to accomplish things. And so the beautiful thing about your brand is that it's you. And there's only one you in the world. Nobody can do you like you do, boo-boo. Okay, so you want to think out of the box and use your uniqueness as a weapon in the market. All right, so next, color. This is the fun part. This is the part that people want to jump to. You know, like I said before, they want to jump to color and all this stuff. Once you put the meat and the bones and the meat of your brand together, then you can dress it up. Okay. And so when I say color here, I'm really talking about the visual identity. It matters. It matters. If you are looking to scale up, I can guess that some of you by now have been doing your own graphics. You created your own logo. You created your own website. That's cool. That's where I started. More power to you. But when you are ready to level up, if designing is not your thing, child, I need you to hand it over to somebody else. And do not tell me that you don't have the money to scale up in that area. Why? Because there are websites like Fiverr.com where you can get a flyer for $5. You can get a logo for $5. You can get social media graphics for $5. Now, you get what you pay for, but these people on Fiverr are skilled and this is what they do. You know what I'm saying? So you want to make sure that you outsource the things as you're scaling up. I should have put outsource on. You want to outsource the things that are not your strength so that you can be freed up to give your all to the spaces that are your strength. All right. So the color, your color palette, the imagery that you use. I know before you decided to scale up, you were picking, images off of Google and, you wanted to sell a product to women. So you will put a picture of a woman, right? No, when you are scaling up, you now have to put thought into this. There is storyboard planning. There are marketing campaigns that need to be planned. You need to put thought behind what you are putting out into the world, because your first impression is the only impression that matters. I have seen businesses that I know that their product is good, that their product is strong, that the person behind the brand is a solid person, but then the graphic that they put out looks like some hokey pokey, jokey stuff. And I'm like, sis, you just killed, I don't even know how much money because you decided to cut corners in your visual identity. When you scale up, you got to go back to the basics and remember that your brand is going to be some of the first things that people see before they meet you or your product. Your branding is what's going to get you in the door. All right. And then again, they might get through the door with the graphic, but all the other things that we just talked about play a role in the customer experience. The customer experience is a part of your branding. Okay. Consistency. We've heard this word. I don't even have to dig into this word too much, but we've heard it over and over again. You have to be consistent when you're scaling up. And I don't mean just in posting on social media. If you've been playing small or you've just started, we can get consumed. I gotta be consistent on social. I gotta show up on social. And that's important. That's a part of it. But let me tell you something. When you fail to show up, your competitors will be there regardless. So when you're not there, your competitor will be. All right. And so when I say consistency and scaling up, you need to be consistently perfecting your product. You need to be consistently perfecting your speaking, your talks. You need to be consistently contacting leads, consistently applying for contracts, consistently refining your systems, consistently developing your staff, consistently working the strategies that you put in place. All right. That is a part of your 6-figure branding. That's a part of your scaling up, because again, when people come into your space, if they're greeted with chaos, that is a reflection on your business. You can have the nicest everything, the nicest product, everything. But if my customer experience was whack, that's a reflection on your brand. If I ordered something on the first and I didn't get it until the next year, that's a reflection on your brand. All right. Connection and community. We're almost there. We're flying, but we're almost there. Connection and community. We live in a time now where everybody's online, everybody's socially connecting. We can't really get together physically, so we're creating communities online. This is a major part of your scaling up. When the people that you follow have a Facebook group, they have some kind of online space where they're inviting their people in to not just sell to them, but to add value to them, to help them grow, to pour into them, to create connection, to create engagement, to create a family around your products and services or around your messaging, right? Because your business is more than just what you sell. It's what you serve. I don't just sell graphics. I don't just sell websites or sell strategy. I sell hope. I sell faith. I sell belief. When you come into my office, You will walk in like, yeah, I kind of got this idea about a business. And then by the time you're done, you're walking out of here like, yo, I'm about to make 6 figures, or yo, I'm really about to touch all these lives. I sell inspiration, right? And so your connection in your community will help undergird you, but also undergird the people that you're serving, so that when you hit them with that new product, they're buying more than just the product. They're buying the hope and the idea behind it. So you want to be mindful of that as a part of your branding. Authenticity. Again, I don't have to say it over and over, but this is crucial for the reasons I just stated. When people get your branding, once they get into the door, eventually they get you. All right. Eventually they get you. And if you are different than what you've been putting out there, you've lost trust with your people. You've lost trust with your people. And there's no worse feeling than being in a conversation with somebody who you feel like they're just trying to sell you, and you start that slimy feeling you get. That is not what we want. When you're scaling up, you have to remain authentic by any means possible. All right. Because people are not just buying their product. They're not just buying the service, but they're buying you. All right. Attention to detail. This is another thing. It boils my grits. I'm telling y'all. But as you are scaling up, when somebody says I'm scaling up, that means that they are growing or they're preparing for growth. All right. So at this next level, you can't afford typos on your flyers anymore. You can't afford, a series of defective products to go out. You can't afford failed follow-up systems and practices, right? You can't afford to not keep your word. So you want to make sure you pay attention to detail. I messed around and hired a virtual assistant for a few minutes. She lasted a few minutes, y'all. I tried to give her a chance. But I tried to convey certain things to her, and she just did not pay attention to detail. So I would give her something to post on social media, and she would include my notes in the post that went live. Right? Like, when I'm trying to scale up, I'm trying to make 6-7 figures in my business. I don't have time for that. So you need to comb through your staff, comb through your designs, comb through what you're sharing with the world, comb through your product and the quality of your product, and pay attention to detail on another level. You're trying to contend with the Walmarts of the world. You're trying to contend with the Lisa Nichols of the world. You're trying to contend with people at that level. And so you want to make sure you pay attention to detail. All right. And then going above and beyond. Again, this translates all the way from what you post on social to the time you get somebody in front of you in an interview or in a proposal for a contract. You want to go above and beyond, not just for yourself. Go above and beyond for your staff. Because listen, here's what I know. As a team member and as a leader, I go hard when my leaders go hard for me. I go hard when I see my teammates going hard. It makes me want to push harder. So as you go above and beyond as the CEO of your business, it is going to cause everybody around you to go above and beyond. It becomes a part of that culture that Irene spoke about. All right. So make sure you go above and beyond for your staff, for your customers, for your community. These are the things that are going to separate you from the next person. Because let me tell you something. I'm not the only personal brand strategist in the world. Like, there's like 15 million of us or more, right? So there has to be something that differentiates me from the next person. I go above and beyond for my clients. And so whatever that looks like for you, you need to apply it to your brand because it resonates and it makes people spend money. All right. All right. And then lastly, P, we're winding down. People. Irene just did an amazing job talking about how your people will make or break your brand. Okay. I don't care if you are just starting out and it's you and your little cousin Niecy, right? The people will make or break your brand. So if you're by yourself right now, I don't want you to reach for the next thing that comes into the office that has legs and say, hey, can you be on my team? No. The people that you work with on your team, there's a teaching in my church where they have to be competent. They have to be able to do the job that you're asking them to do without you doing it for them or hovering over them, or else they're taken away from your time. They have to have character. They have to be trustworthy. If you are scaling up, I'm hoping that by now you have somebody as your administrator that can answer your phones, somebody that can maybe you have an accountant, somebody that handles your business, right? Your financial business. They need to have character. You cannot succeed or scale up with a team full of dead weight. You can't go up if they're holding you down. Can I get an amen in the comments, right? So it matters who you have working with you. It's cool if there's friendship there, but I'm not here to be your friend. As Irene said, it's my name on the logo. It's my name on the door, not yours. And so at the end of the day, I need you to do your job. Like, I love you, but I need you to do your job. All right. And so that's one of the first things. Hire yourself a business coach, but then get yourself a team to help you carry the weight of this business and this brand. There are 15 items in this checklist. You can't do it all by yourself effectively. All right. So the next thing, processes, child, and systems that we've been talking about all summit long. Again, it will make or break your brand. It's not enough for you to have a nice flyer or a nice image cover graphic on your Facebook page. It's not enough. It's not enough to have nice designs on your products. All right. You have to have these processes. Why? Because even your brand speaks to even the people that work internally. Your brand speaks to even the vendors that you work with. So if your systems are jacked, it's a bad reflection on the brand. And that word travels also. Like, yeah, I delivered I did some work for Brittany Smith Creative Company, and girl, they didn't pay their invoice for like 3 months until 3 months after. That word travels, and it will make nobody want to work with you. You wonder why you ain't got no invoice processors to work with, right? So you want to make sure your systems are intact. Your financial systems. How are you handling your money? You cannot scale up and your money be in complete disarray. You cannot scale up and not know not have every dime and every cent accounted for. You cannot scale up and not have a savings account for your business. You cannot scale up and not be handling your tax business inside your business, all right? You need to have a marketing system in place. Listen, I get it. When you are just starting out, you ain't got time to be planning out your posts and stuff. But if you're trying to scale up, you have to be consistent. You have to be having a consistent conversation on social media. If you're using social media, you have to be having a consistent conversation in your email list. You have to be having a consistent conversation with whatever platforms you're operating on. That is a system that you put in place so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel every month. And eventually, if you're scaling up, these systems are being handed over to someone else to do. You ain't got time. You don't have time to be knee deep in your marketing system when you are the brains of the operation. Your operational systems. What do we do from day to day? How do we report to one another? What kind of language do we use as we're talking to one? How many times a week do we meet? Who belongs into these meetings, right? That is those are your operational systems, your day to day. Your client management system. Irene mentioned Dubsado. There are tons of different softwares you can use. I think there's Monday.com. Basecamp was one at one point. There's Salesforce. I use Honeybook. There are lots and lots of systems, but you need something to organize your clients and the flows that they're in. You cannot scale up still putting people in an Excel sheet or putting people in a notebook. For the longest, I'm a bare all right now. For the longest time, my client management system was a notebook. And I would just write everything in the notebook so I could always go back to it. But like, how does that sound? You ain't making 6 figures out of no notebook. Okay. So I need you to make sure that you have systems in place for these things. Project fulfillment. If you have a product, what happens when somebody hits order? Does it just go into thin air? And if you remember to fill it, it gets filled. And if it doesn't, it doesn't? No, that reflects on your brand. All right. Literally, when somebody hits purchase, there's a ticking clock that will hit down to 0. And if they don't have what they asked for, by the time it gets to 0, that's a strike for you and they're never coming back. All right. So you want to make sure your systems are in place. And I will also just add that apps make the world go round. And it looks like I'm thinking my time is probably. Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay. Got you. Wrapping up. All right. The last one is platforms and making sure that you are showing up in the right place at the right time. That goes back to making sure you know who you are supposed to be reaching, and you're showing up where they are showing up. I am just seeing the message. I was waiting for a little timer to pop up on my screen. All right. So we'll skip to the end. Making sure that you show up consistently everywhere is going to help you to scale up in your business and in your brand. And lastly, these are the ways that you can connect with me. If you want to download the free branding checklist, you can visit that link right there. Do I exit out of this screen myself, Tiffany, or?
I'm here. We're here together. I'll take it down. I'll take it down. So we are going to, I'll put her information across the bottom there. Thank you so very much, Brittany. Listen, I know you definitely could have kept going, and I'm like, we are out of time. We have 13 minutes left in our time together, and I know that people have questions because there are 34 comments.
Oh God!
Your presentation. So I'm like, we gotta wrap up right now so that we can get to people's questions. All right, so let's go back. All right, so quite a few people tuned in. Emily Rodriguez says Brittany is the truth. And then let's see, Irene says your logo is not your brand. Patricia gave you a shout out. She said, I work with Brittany. She's amazing and she knows exactly what she is doing. They were lighting up the comments with the no cap. So they were definitely in the comments where you were asking them to be, which is always great. Yes to focusing on your core business. Mercedes said, I need help with branding, colors, and logos. I don't feel like it fully expresses my brand and what I stand for. When you asked them to say ready, they were definitely ready. And there with you, we got a lot of preaches, a lot of yes, a lot of amens, and a lot of this is amazing, time to level up. So this is really great. It looks like people really loved everything that you shared. So we have some pre-selected questions, or not pre-selected, or pre-submitted questions that came when you all registered. If you have questions for Brittany, y'all, she over there got to pat her sweat. I mean, she just poured that thing out, okay? We appreciate you because we know that you just left everything on the table, and we are grateful for that, all right? So let's get into these questions really quickly. We might go about 5 minutes over time, so please stick with us so that you can get your questions answered. If you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the comment box right now. And Brittany, the first question, if you had one piece of advice to someone who is just starting out, what would that piece of advice be?
That piece of advice would be to fail forward. Fail forward. I tripped over my own 2 feet so many times. I've learned so many things the hard way. But one of the things that people that have been following me for a long time, like from the very ugly beginning, one of the things that can be said about me is I never stopped going. I kept going, I was able to laugh off some of the mistakes. Some of them I cried them off, but fail forward. Just keep going. Just keep going.
I love that. I love that. So the next question that we have is, have you ever turned down a client? And if so, what did that look like?
So I'm embarrassed to say I have not. I have not. Now, I have regretted not turning them down. But no, I haven't, because I was trapped in the mindset of, if they came to me, I think I can help them. And now that I'm scaling up, I recognize I can't help everybody, even if on the surface they have the needs that my business can supply. There has to be a chemistry. For the work that we do, there has to be a chemistry. We spend a lot of time together. We have to get in each other's world a little bit. And if there is a barrier there, I'm not going to be able to serve you the best of my ability. So I haven't turned anybody down, but there are plenty that I shouldn't.
Yes. And take that as a lesson that, I turned clients down. It took me some years to get to that point. But my favorite response is, we're not taking any clients right now. We're kind of at our maximum, our capacity. That's the easiest way. And if I feel like I'm not a good fit for them, then I'll refer them to someone who is a good fit for them. But if I feel like they're just like not a good person to work with, I'm just going to leave them to their own devices and to find their own person. I'm I'm not going to refer anybody who I wouldn't work with to somebody that I care about, one of my friends or clients or something like that. So yes, turning down clients is a real thing, especially as you scale. You will have to say no to a lot of things. All right. So our next question, again, in maybe like 60 seconds or less, what are 2 key activities that you recommend entrepreneurs invest their time in? 2 things that entrepreneurs should be spending their time doing.
So the first one is definitely investing your time in that follow-up activity. It's major in closing the deal on a lot of the inquiries that you get, on a lot of the projects that may be dangling out there, or possible projects and contracts that you might be getting. You have to make time in your schedule for that follow-up, because not only is it a good reflection on your brand, it helps to deepen those relationships that may eventually yield more money to your business. So that would be the first one, is really taking the time to invest in that follow-up. And then another thing is investing in developing your skill set. You have to stay on top of your game, especially now that I promise you, I see new entrepreneurs popping up every 5 minutes, and they're like, oh, I do this. And it's like, no, you don't. But you have to continue to hone your craft so that you can continue to stand out above the rest, and people will come back to you for your quality work.
Yes. Continued education. That's something that we're going to be talking about more, from the Six Figure Society throughout this year. Brittany has an advanced degree. Irene is a professor. I'm working on an advanced degree. I'm a professor. We are intentional about education, that you should always be learning. And there are too many people who become entrepreneurs and stop learning in the beginning phases, and they never further their education. Continued education is also one of the best ways to fight the imposter syndrome. I never feel like an imposter when I stand before my students, because I know what I know. It's because of the education that I have taken on that I am confident, and I know that where I belong. The same thing when it comes to certain business things. There are still things in business where I'm like, I need to learn a little bit more about that. But the stuff that I know, I know those things. And it's because I've invested in continued education. So thank you for bringing that up. We have a question from Jevin. I'm not sure if Jevin is on here, but speaking of time, one of Jevin's questions is, how do I maximize my time? So you are a wife, a mother, you just became self-employed. So you were running your business full-time, working full-time, serving in ministry, being a wonderful daughter. Like you have all of these roles and responsibilities. How do you maximize your time, or how would you recommend that someone maximizes their time?
So one of the things that I've been practicing, and it's a practice, y'all, is this thing. It's kind of like called time blocking. People call it time blocking. I don't do it in such a structured way as most people do it, but I set my intention on my day. So I have these little notepads right on my desk, these little notepads, and I will write out each day the things I need to accomplish. I'll even put time frames depending upon what, if it's going to take a larger chunk of time. And I will just focus on this notepad. I won't do anything else that comes across my desk. I won't entertain anything that comes across my desk. I will use my notepad, and I'll also use like a time tracker app that will help me. It'll tick for 45 minutes, and then it'll ding when the 45 minutes is up. And I have to be disciplined to come up for air when the ding happens and walk away and move to the next thing. It's a practice, y'all. Okay, I'm telling you, it's a practice.
It's a practice, and I love what you said. It was as soon as you said time blocking, the first thing that came into my mind was discipline. In order for you to do that, and I know that's something that Irene does. When she first, I don't do time blocking in the same way that Irene does, but when she first sent me her time blocking, I was like, girl, I need to step up my time blocking.
Right.
I strongly believe in setting, increments. It's also healthy. that you get up and move. So now I have an Apple Watch. I'm mad I don't have it on right now, but I have an Apple Watch and it'll remind me every hour to stand up, to move, walk around. Because when you work from home and when you're service-based, you can get stuck right here in front of this screen. And when you love what you do, that time will pass without you even realizing it. So time blocking is a great tool, and having discipline. And I firmly believe in setting those timers. If I say I'm going to work on something for 2 hours, I like to give myself 2-hour increments, because most of my tasks take about an hour to 90 minutes, might take a little bit longer, but whatever those increments are, set them and have the discipline to walk away when you're done with that. So our next question, we have a question from Mona. Again, not sure if Mona is on here, but Mona asked the question, where did you begin? When it comes to branding, and I know that you talked about this, but if you could just summarize it in like a few sentences in 60 seconds or less, where do you begin when it comes to branding?
Ooh, that's a loaded question. Because I think it depends on what foundation you already have. You know, I have clients that come to me who just have a business idea. That's it. So before we can talk about colors and logos and creating a Facebook page, they don't know who they're trying to reach. They don't know what their messaging is. They don't even have the money. Like, they don't have no startup money. They don't even know if they want to do products or services. Like, so if you are that person with just an idea, then you start with fleshing out your idea. I love this tool called Mind Maps. And what a mind map is you literally take a paper, you draw like a little circle in the middle, you write your idea in the middle, and then you just dump out all of your ideas of the possibilities that thing can become. Start there if you're in the just an idea phase. If you have a business and you're kind of operating, but you don't really have branding going on, I think you can start with really getting a hone in on who your ideal client is. Because your ideal client will inform how you speak on social. It'll inform what kinds of colors you use, what kind of language that you're using. It'll inform how you deliver whatever it is that you're delivering, right? So I would start with your ideal client, and then from there, because you're going to be thinking about how you can serve them the best.
Yeah.
What they're going to be attracted to, right? So that's where I would start. Focusing on your ideal client and then branch out from there. Using the checklist.
Awesome. Thank you so much for breaking that down. So we have one question that is, and thank you. So we have Patricia who contributed. She said her one that she would begin with being a lifelong learner, investing in yourself. So Patricia, thank you for answering that question. So we do have one live question before we get to the final questions that were submitted. And that question comes from Mercedes, and it says, how do you use branding to speak directly to your audience so that they know that what she offers is for them? So how do you use branding to speak to your audience so that they know what you offer is for them?
Sure. So one of the things, I didn't have an M in my acronym, so I couldn't say messaging. But your messaging is the language that you use. So for example, you might be a fitness coach and you say, look, I help you lose weight. Well, there are people that want to lose weight because they want to fit into a certain size dress. There are also people who want to lose weight because it's a health issue, right? And so your language will say something like, if you're trying to reach the person that has a health issue, your language is going to be very specific in saying, my product will help you lose weight so that you can live a longer life. You know what I'm saying? So your messaging has to be very specific in sharing what their pain point is. You're telling them, I know that you suffer with high cholesterol. My program will bust cholesterol in the face.com. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that's how you use your branding. You use very specific words and you use very specific pain points as your target in your descriptions, in your emails, in your flyers, in your product descriptions. Be very, very specific. And that's how they'll be able to self-identify.
Yeah, I like to call that IQ versus EQ when it comes to your marketing and your messaging, that your messaging is either going to speak to someone's intelligence or their emotion. And you need to know what that language is. And like you said, that pain point for most people speaks to their emotions because it's something that causes them pain. They feel that. But intelligence, the IQ, is going to be, if something costs $100 and it's 50% off, it's like, oh, in my intelligence, I know that this is a deal because it's 50% off. So if I see an advertisement that tells me that something that is normally $100 is $50, that clicks right in, with the IQ, my intelligence, to tell me that's a deal that I should take. All right, so we're down to our final two questions. Again, if you can answer these in 60 seconds or less. The first question is or the second to last question is, how has COVID impacted your business?
So believe it or not, I was one of the industries where COVID actually positively affected my business. COVID hit, everybody hit online, everybody needed websites, everybody needed flyers, everybody needed social media posts, and I was inundated with requests. And so again, falling into the trap of serving people that I may not have needed to serve at the time, but my business boomed in the midst of a pandemic because people needed to be represented online visually. And I was sitting there like, hey guys, I do websites, and it's just kind of like they just showed up. So I was very grateful for that. And it allowed me to work out some of those systems that Irene spoke about. It allowed me to work through a lot because I had the influx of opportunities.
Yeah, that's good. So the final question of the night, of the entire event: what role has business coaching played in your success thus far? You touched on it a little bit, but if there's anything else that you want to add, please share what role that coaching and consulting has played in your business.
So I will preface this response with, you don't know what you don't know. And in your business, your time is money. And so having a coach and or a consultant allows you to sidestep many obstacles that you would not have otherwise. And I'm just going to be transparent, y'all, that I would have probably made a fraction of what I made last year had I not had certain people punching me in my face about my pricing and everything. I changed my pricing under the consult of a coach, and I made more money than I ever had in my business. I didn't have to change nothing else I was doing. I just had to change, add a zero, y'all. Okay. I just had to add a zero. So it's stuff like that I didn't even know to do or didn't even think I could do. And it was something as simple as adding a zero to my price. And that changed the trajectory of my business. It put 6 figures within reach for me. Just that one little nugget, right? And so you don't know what you don't know. You need a guide. You need a guide. And you can't do it by yourself. So if you can, get one now. Okay. Because there's just so much that you don't know, and you can avoid so many pitfalls and be leaps and bounds ahead of where you would have been otherwise. So
yeah. That the 6 figures within reach, like that just made me emotional because for many people, and that's one of the many reasons why I created the 6 Figure Society, is because for many people, 6 figures seems so far off. Right. And to have it like all of a sudden go from there to here, and it's like attainable, and to know what you said when you said, I didn't know that I could do that. I didn't know that I could increase my prices while I increase my value. You know what I'm saying? So bringing it into reach, it's taking it from something that's so distant and bringing it right here, where it feels like it's within reach. That changes a life. Like that doesn't just. I was talking to probably about 2 months ago, a recruiter for a company, and he was telling me that one of the things that he loves about the CEO of their particular company is that the CEO thinks with the client in mind. So when they sell their product to their client, it's like a certification and like licensing system in the tech world. When they sell their product to their client, it makes a higher salary available for that client that would not have otherwise been there. So if I'm a tech whatever and I take their course that is really inexpensive, now I can go from making $50,000 a year to $150,000 a year, and all I invested was a few $100s. And when he said that, that resonated with me. I was like, I feel the same way about my people. Like it feels so good to take something that's way out there and bring it right here for them to grab. So thank you for sharing that, and thank you for saying that. And with that, Miss Brittany, we are going to let you go. Before I do that, you've seen it on your screen multiple times throughout our time together. All of the graphics that you saw for this event were created by this woman herself. The Brittany Smith Creative Company is our presenting sponsor for this event. I'm so grateful that she agreed to do it. She did it in excellence, did it quickly. I mean, to be completely honest, she's moving faster than me on some of our projects, but she is doing her thing. If you like the graphics, if you like the branding, if it felt like something, I want this same excellence and this same quality, please visit the website that you see on your screen, BrittanySmithCreative.com. Go ahead and book your consultation, invest in the services. And the beautiful thing about Brittany's company is that it is total package. So we're not just piecemealing this thing. You're not just coming for one flyer, one little this or one little that. You're coming for the whole package. So make sure that you all patronize her business and support her. And Brittany, again, I just want to publicly thank you for creating those graphics and for sponsoring your services for this event.
Yeah, no, thank you for the opportunity. It was my pleasure. Had a blast.
So I hope that you have a great night. We're going to go ahead and kick you out of our virtual space and then wrap up this event for the evening. So thank you again. All righty, so we are done. What did y'all think about that? It was so good. That last point, it really did make me emotional. Like I had to blink a couple of times because we at the Six Figure Society love when our clients can say that something that was so distant all of a sudden became a very real right now reality for us in less than a year. Brittany and I have only been working with each other, I think, for like 6 months. Maybe 7. And in less than a year, something that seemed so far off has become a very real reality for her. And in a pandemic year, she made 5 figures. I know 2021 is only up from here using that 6-figure scaling principles that she has in her business. So as I have mentioned before, you all get, each and every one of you get a complimentary 360 business analysis session. That is an opportunity to meet with me privately. We will assess your current business standing, what your goals are for 2021 and beyond, and then we will put a plan in place for those goals. What do you need to do next in order to attain those goals? Those sessions normally cost $97, but for you, it is completely free. When you visit that website that is on your screen and use that code, TiffanyGillespie.as.me/360, and use the code SFS you will be able to claim your complimentary session. I know that some people have actually already booked during this presentation because I was checking my email while they were presenting. I'm like, okay, I see this person signed up and that person signed up. So that offer, that complimentary session, it expires tomorrow. So make sure if you want to take advantage of it, make sure that you do that. I went in and checked the dates as well. There are probably about 4 sessions remaining. So if you want one of those 4 remaining sessions, make sure that you book that and do it before the offer expires, okay? If you already know that you want to be a part of the Six Figure Society, we are ready for you. In each of our cohorts, we probably have 1 or 2 spaces that are remaining. The number varies depending on the cohort. So whatever your industry cohort is, we'll put you right in there and you'll get in with other people who are in your industry. And we want you to take advantage of that. Please note that the investment for the Six Figure Society programs and offerings will be increasing on February 1st, 2021. So if you want to take advantage of those 2020 rates before the increase happens, make sure that you do that by January 31st. Again, do not wait, because if the spots fill up before January 31st, then that's just going to be the end of it until we open enrollment again. I love you all to life. I am so very grateful that you all have stuck with us for 3 days, 6 hours, 12 presenters and speakers. You all have rocked out with us. I am grateful to God for the support that you have shown, and I am confident that this will not be your last interaction with the Six Figure Society. Thank you all so much. Have a wonderful evening, and I will talk to each of you soon. I love you all to life. Bye.